Hello guys, so we're gonna start with our DIY. You're gonna need pine cones. You're also gonna need fall floral. If you know the name of this one, leave it in the comments below. I'll appreciate it. We're also gonna need leaves. Love these. They have different shade of colors. You're gonna need pumpkins. We're gonna use the big ones, not the little ones. You're also gonna need ribbons, different types of ribbons, so it could give it texture to our wreath. Okay, so don't use the same type of ribbon. Also, I'm gonna use this old burlap ribbon that I had from many years ago, and I'm just gonna cut it and use it because I need it. You're also gonna need the wreath, cutting wire, scissors, and a glue gun. So let's start with our DIY. First of all, we're gonna cut the ribbons. You're gonna cut them the same length, all of them. So that's very important. You don't want to cut one bigger, the other one smaller. It's gonna not look good. So make sure they're all the same size. You're gonna cut all of them because that's gonna help you a lot, saving time. Because if you do this, you don't have to go back and forth once you're gluing your ribbons, because you already have them cut and they're ready to go. So that it's the fastest route. So like I said, I just didn't have burlap ribbon, so I end up using this bow that I had for many years ago, and I just broke it apart and just cut, and it worked perfectly because for some reason it ended up being the same size, so it did work out perfectly. So that was awesome. I was happy about that. I was afraid I was not gonna have enough ribbon, but it worked out. So I cut them, and I'm gonna keep cutting because like I said, we're gonna cut all of them. So while I do that, I wanna mention that all my materials that we're using, I bought it at Hobby Lobby. So if you wanna do this same design of wreath, I got all the materials in Hobby Lobby. The only ribbon that I bought at the Dollar Tree is the plain green one, the one that does not have texture or the mesh looking like. So that's the only one I bought at Dollar Tree. The rest was Hobby Lobby. Okay, so what we're doing is we're putting the bows together, but obviously the green one is gonna be longer because you're gonna put the burlap one a little more downwards, so it'll look like the green is longer, but it's not. They're both the same size. You're just gonna put the burlap a little more down, so it gives you the effect that the green one is longer. I like to do that because it gives me enough on the bottom to put glue so we could glue it on the wreath. Also, I want to mention that you guys could use wire if you don't want to use hot glue. If you want to use the wreath again and you just want to use it for other seasons, you could just use wire. I wire the ribbons, and you could wire the ribbons on the wreath. To me, it's a little more complicated. I rather use the glue gun, but it's up to you. You could do whatever you want, it's fine. I also want to mention that if you guys want to do this wreath, you could do it the same. If you like mines, you could do mines. But if you want to do your own, you could do your own. Be creative. This is just an inspiration for you to know how to do it, and then you could use your own materials. Also, you could use the things that you already have. So before doing the wreath, look at your bucket of fall decorations, or your boxes, or whatever it is that you put your fall decor, and just look what you have. I'm pretty sure you have ribbons and pumpkins and leaves and flowers. And so just look on your fall bucket, because you might have all the items and you don't have to waste money. Listen, we gotta save some money here. Okay, so if you have the materials, just look, because you might have the materials and you don't have to waste money. Now, if you wanna sorry, I was sick and I'm still like a little excuse for that. So if you want, you could get new materials. If shopping makes you happy, go for it. You deserve it. That's fine also. Okay, so another tip that I want to give you guys is that if you guys are not into orange and you're more of a neutral person, you could still do the wreath, but instead of putting orange, maybe you could leave it, you could do it white, beige, brown, and maybe you could throw in there a little bit of green, just because of the fact of you might want to put leaves, or just a little pop of color that is not gonna take away from your neutrals. I don't know, I hope you guys understand what I'm trying to say. Like, I understand you guys don't like colors, but maybe a little green, just it doesn't look so bland, you know. So it could have a little bit some type of color, but it's still gonna look neutral, because most of the colors you're gonna be using are gonna be like whites and beige and brown, and you know. So that's another tip that I'm gonna let you guys have, because I know neutral is on right now. And let me tell you, I love neutrals. Like, a lot of my decor, well, let me fix that. A lot of my furniture is like neutral colors. I love neutral. So yeah, so that's that. But I decided to do, you know, colors, so for the people that likes color, you know, but you could also do neutral. Okay, so we're gonna get the wreath, and we're gonna start putting the leaves and the floral. Now this is easy breezy. You just get your leaves and your floral, and you're gonna stick it on the wreath. You don't need glue, you don't need wire. This is so simple and easy. Anybody could do it, I promise you. Just stick it in there. You stick your leaves, you stick your floral. And remember, very important tip, if you guys stick the floral, the full floral in there, make sure you spread them. Make sure you open them so they look nice and fluffy, so they look, you know, it's just the same thing like you do when you flock your Christmas tree. You open the branches so it's nice, it looks nice and full. With your floral, when you do florals on wreaths, you do the same thing. Spread them around, because it's gonna look fuller, okay? So basically now what I'm doing is, I already put the floral, the leaves and the floral. I'm putting now the little bows of ribbon. Now, very important, when you put the ribbons, make sure you give it some time, press really hard, and give it some time for the glue to dry. Because if you glue it and then you take it out really quick, it'll fall, because it's still gonna be like hot. So you gotta let the glue get cold. So, you know, once it gets cold, it's gonna be stick in there and it's not gonna fall. So just press it, give it a little bit of time for the glue to dry, and then you can move on to the next step. So now I'm putting the pumpkins. It's very simple. All you do, put some glue under the pumpkin. Be generous, because you don't want it to fall, so make sure you put glue enough so it doesn't fall. Remember, the wreath is kind of like wood braided type of thing, like branches braided, so it's not a flat surface. So make sure that you put a decent amount of glue on the pumpkins to make sure they stay, okay? Because that was something that I noticed about it when I was doing it. Okay, so I want to mention it to you guys. Okay, so right now I'm putting the pine cones. These pine cones, I did not have a trouble putting them because they were pretty flat, but you're gonna notice when we keep going, there's some pine cones that they were like very textured, and since the wreath has little braided branches, they didn't have a flat surface. And it was very difficult to do those pine cones. The first ones were pretty flat, so I didn't have a trouble. But the second pair, I did have some trouble, but I'm gonna show you what I did to fix that. Very simple, easy breezy. You're gonna be able to do it, and I'm gonna show you in a minute once we get to that part. So basically, I am going now for the second pumpkin. Okay, I'm doing now the off-white pumpkin. Putting it in there, holding it, waiting for the glue to get dry. Okay. Okay, I think that's done. I'm telling you, you gotta have patience and just hold it there until it dries. If you put a good amount of glue, obviously it's gonna take a little longer to dry, but it's necessary because you don't want to glue your pumpkins and then when you put it on the door, boom, they fell out of the wreath. You don't want that. So it's rather to put a little more, even though you have to wait a little more. But it's better to be safe than sorry. So okay, so now I'm gonna give you the tip that I use because I was having trouble because there's some branches that are difficult. So I was having trouble gluing the pumpkin and the pine cones that I'm gonna be putting in a minute. I had problem with that. So what I did was I cut a little piece of ribbon, the one that's flat, that's plain, that doesn't have the mesh looking like style. I used that and I put it on the wreath, so that will give me a flat surface. So once I put the ribbon on the wreath, I glue it on the wreath, then I was able to put the pumpkins and the pine cones because the ribbon gave me a flat surface for me to work. So that is a great tip for you guys to know, to have in mind whenever you guys are doing wreaths, like at least this specific wreath. It was something that I did while I was doing it and it worked out perfectly. So I was like, there you go, that's awesome, that's a great tip. You learn as you go and you find ways as you go also. That's the great thing about doing DIYs. Okay, so I'm doing right now the pumpkins and the pine cones, and I'm just gonna let you guys listen to the video and I'll be back in a minute. Okay guys, so I wanted to mention that in the spots where it looks kind of empty is where exactly you're gonna put your ribbons once you have the pumpkins and your pine cones already glued. You're just gonna crisscross, put the ribbons crisscross in all the empty spaces. I also want to mention before I forget that we cut 4 pairs of ribbons, but when I was done with the DIY, I noticed it needed a little more ribbons because I wanted to look more full because it had like empty spaces. And it's very important that you fill the empty spaces so it looks nice and full. So I suggest you guys to do 6 pairs of the both designs, so it makes it nice and full. That's what I ended up doing, but I didn't record it because I didn't want the video to be longer, but just so you guys have that in mind. So we're just gonna keep putting the ribbons and you're gonna see the final product at the end. Okay, so at this point I have extra picks and leaves, and I'm just filling up the spaces just to make it fuller. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm just adding more stuff so it could look more fuller. So guys, we're almost done. I just want to remind you guys to please subscribe to my channel. It doesn't cost you anything and it's gonna help my channel. Also, press the like button. That's gonna let YouTube know that you like my content, and leave your comments below. If you did the wreath, leave me a picture on the bottom. I want to see it. Thank you so much. Have a great one.